The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debbie, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them to identify the root cause of their health issues and create a natural, custom strategy to resolve them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You will feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Did you know that intermittent fasting reduces anxiety as well as improves mood and gives you mental clarity? It actually does. And Why Fast is a intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and in turn boosts your metabolism. And it is a unique program that is high, dense in nutrition and nutrients, and it has all these elements in it, including a program with exercise. So contact me if you have any questions. It is a natural part of all my programs. And you can contact me by going to my link tree at https://www.debi, DEBI, changes, CHANGES, lives, lives.com/linktree. You can email me or set up an appointment. At that same link tree, I have my #1 bestseller book that you can purchase. It's a collection of women's transformational stories, including my own. If someone's struggling, this is a great gift for them. It's $20 or a signed copy for $25. Once I get your email and the payment, I'll send the book out to you. So secure your spot on my Beach Reveal retreat that includes my 6-month weight release transformation story, with you writing your transformation story in a chapter of a book at the House of Influence Retreat Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This program becomes a celebratory award that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your weight and health transformation. It is a fun gift of health that you'll be so grateful that you took advantage of. And the weight release portion starts either on March 1st or April 4th until the spots are secured. And the retreat starts on November 6th through the 13th. You can watch more about this Beach Reveal retreat at my episodes at https://bit.ly with a capital B for beach, a capital R for reveal, a capital S for show, with a numeric 2 all spelled out. The original episode doesn't have the number 2 at the end. And you're welcome to reach out to me with your questions, either email, but wouldn't it be better to set up an appointment to talk to me about it? And it's also where you would sign up, which is at my link tree that I've mentioned before. Today, I am going to focus on anxiety with a twist. Everybody has to do some kind of presentation, whether it's in school, business, podcast, or even from the stage. And I have Marla Press, who is going to help you bring out your authentic voice to you can be able to deliver your message. In the past, I've had issues with anxiety and fear with public speaking. What's great is that Marla will help you bring out your authentic voice, and she will help you connect better, be more energetic, and be joyful, and you will be speaking stress-free. Marla Press is a founder of the Speakers on Fire Academy. She's a public speaking coach, as well as a life coach and an art presence trainer. She's going to coach you on mastering your presence and creating a bigger impact by building a wow factor for you to have a better connection with your audience. She'll make you a better public speaker, and she also will help you have your audience listen to you. She has several speaking packages, including boot camps and one-to-one coaching. She has a unique exercise that helps the beginner speaker and the experienced speaker transform immediately. So let's welcome Marla Press, the founder of the Speaker Academy. Marla, welcome to my show.
Oh, it's great to be here, Debbie. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, a lot of people have challenges with public speaking, and it seems like you are certainly a natural. Why are you so motivated about helping people to become a better speaker, and why is it so important?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I became really interested in this because when I grew up, I didn't speak up hardly ever. I was really, really shy and introverted, and I just didn't have the confidence to speak up. And I also experienced some trauma and didn't speak up about that. And that really affected my life a lot for a long, long, long time. So it took me a while to discover how to not just have confidence, but to really know that my message mattered and how to communicate it so people will listen. And so my mission is to help as many people as possible to speak up, but also to speak so people listen. Because if you're in business, for example, and you want to promote yourself, you want to network, you want to put your message out there, a lot of people, they just kind of sound like this and everybody sounds the same. So they don't really, really stand out. And that's a big part of what I do also. But I love this concept of anxiety. This is really a biggie these days.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that So come with me on this journey. Everyone listening and watching out there, come with me on this journey. We're going to go from anxiety to joy. So we might start talking about anxiety, but we're going to bring it up. We don't want to bring it down. We want to bring it up. So that's what we're going to do. But let's acknowledge what is. So there's two things. There's a collective anxiety that all of us are feeling, and some of us feel it more than others, but all of us are feeling this anxiety about the change that's going on in the world. There's a lot of change happening, and change is inevitable, but it's really coming fast at us. And some of it we don't like, and it's hard to deal with. So it could be anything from politics to climate to your artificial intelligence and what that's doing. You know, a lot of it's good, but a lot of it's, confusing or difficult or could be used in a bad way.
Yeah, and the way they look at it too. I mean, you can't control what's happening outside yourself. You can only control how you react to it. And sometimes when it comes to anxiety, some people. I was a wallflower too, just like you were. And at times I, kind of get kind of shy and things like that as well. But it's really important for us to bring out our message, because if we don't do that, people won't realize that, hey, these two ladies were wallflowers at one time, and they became braver and didn't pay attention to their fear and were able to speak their message.
Yeah, that's so true. So everyone out there can do that also. And yes, of course, it's how we react all stress is how we react to our environment and to our circumstances. I'm just acknowledging that because I think a lot of people don't acknowledge that it's okay and it is affecting you. And at the same time, then there's the personal anxiety, what's going on in your own life and how you feel about yourself. And, public speaking is the number one fear. After all these decades, it hasn't changed. It's still the number one fear that people have. And why is that? Because you're expressing yourself. You're risking rejection, you're risking judgment because we all judge each other. So it's a huge fear. And yet there's so many great ways to not only overcome that, but find it joyful to speak up and to become a public speaker. And, what's great about these exercises that I do, what I teach is it helps in your personal life. So it could be helpful with talking to your spouse, talking to your friends, talking to your kids, talking to your boss or your coworkers. Exactly. It doesn't have to be that you're on a big stage. These techniques will help you communicate from a different place and be grounded so that no matter where you speak, it's going to be really joyful and your message is going to get across better.
Exactly. Because when you're more in tune to your inner self, you are more comfortable and you can speak more authentically and get your message across in a better way, in a better format. So one thing that, if you think about it, you got to think that people don't really judge you, or if you think they're judging you, that's going to make you more nervous. But if you make a mistake, so what? But what are some of the common mistakes that speakers make?
Yeah, I have a sheet that says 10 common mistakes that speakers make and how to fix them. So there's quite a few, but one of them is wanting to be perfect. And people don't, we do get judged. I mean, that is a reality. It's just human nature, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. And nobody wants you to be perfect. That's not what we want. That's not what your audience wants. They want you to give them value, to see them and validate them, and to connect with them.
Yes.
They also want to be entertained and a few other things, but they don't want perfection. They want connection. And that's really important to keep as your intention is to connect with people and not try to be perfect. Don't even try to be perfect.
No.
Nobody wants that.
Because people might be, they might be attracted to your imperfections and what you're offering. So, everyone is human. I'm sorry. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
So, we're doing the best we can, and you'll get your message out there. And sometimes you just need to keep on working at it because it's a growing lesson. It's going to be something that you're going to grow upon. You're going to become a better speaker over time. And that's something that's really important to remember is that you are growing and learning as you go along.
Absolutely. So I can talk about a couple more mistakes, but I just have to tell this quick, funny story because I thought it was so funny. Talk about perfection. So what I find a lot of speakers do, this is also a mistake that speakers make, is they go out there and they want to be the expert. They want to seem like they're confident, competent. And so they come out with the speaker personality that's really a little dry and boring. And also talking about what you were just talking about, Debbie. So I did this, it's called an action talk. It's kind of like a TED Talk.
Okay.
And there was an audience there and I was in the room and all of a sudden this fly started just swirling around my head and it wouldn't leave my face alone. And I could either have ignored it and just try to be, keep to my speech and be really, competent. But instead I made a joke about it saying, oh my gosh, I know some people want to be a fly on the wall when I speak, but fly on my face is ridiculous. And everybody laughed and thought it was funny. And, I almost thought, oh, we should edit that out of there. But then thought, no, that just makes me human because I had to deal with this fly and how I dealt with it and made a joke instead of just trying to, be all perfect. So,
And it gave us insight of your character. So that's something that people look at too, and you don't need to be perfect.
yeah. So another big mistake that speakers make, believe it or not, is the mistake is to want to be liked.
Mm.
And I say this with a little caveat. So, of course, you want to be known, liked, and trusted for the most part. But if your main intention is just to be liked, you're probably not going to be as powerful. You're not going to take a stand. And people, your audience also wants to know your beliefs, what you stand for. And, when you're a little bit edgy, you motivate people more, you inspire people more, you get more attention for sure when you're a little bit edgy versus just trying to be, the likable person and try and please everybody, because you're never going to please everybody. So
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
And like the whole audience, you have no idea who's really out there. So why concentrate, to making everybody happy? Just be yourself and put it out there, and it will come back to you.
Yes. And then I'll just talk. So I have 10 mistakes, but I'll just mention one more because this is a biggie also. And it kind of goes along with being perfect, but they want to memorize your speech. And I had this mistake in the beginning myself, because I'm a writer and I thought I write better than I speak because it can sound so amazing when I write it. But you have to let go of that, because when you memorize your speech, you're going to be up in your head and you're going to be, more in the speech itself than connecting to the audience. And you're going to sound at least a little robotic, even if you memorized it well enough that you can pretty much sound like you're being spontaneous. People will sense that you're not being spontaneous, and they will get that, and it won't make them connect to you as much. So people say, well, I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. If you're in the right intention and if you're in the right energy, which we'll talk about in a minute, then it's going to flow from you because you know your stuff. And it doesn't have to be exactly as you wrote it. It should sound like you're having a conversation.
Yeah, and somebody just mentioned that you don't need to be perfect. I mean, there was a guest response.
Yes. Who said that?
Somebody from the Country Gazette. It came up as a little comment you'll see on the screen.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So now, when you talk about presence, what exactly do you mean?
Yeah, that, I was just having a conversation in another group about this, that it's an overused word and a lot of people have heard it, but they have no idea what it really means. And I think a lot of people have misconceptions about it too. So most people think that presence means you're being mindful, which means you're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about how what's happening right now is going to affect the future. You're thinking about the present moment. But I take that one step further and get you out of your head energy altogether. So you're not in your thinking mind, you're in your full body energy, which is what makes you fully present. And, we've experienced this. Let's say one person walks into a room and the energy shifts and people notice, they look up, they want to know what this person's going to say. They want to know more about this person. That person has presence. They're magnetic. And someone else can walk into a room and the energy doesn't shift and nobody really notices them. So we've all experienced that, right? Maybe it's happened to us. We've experienced that noticing other people.
And tell you the truth, I think maybe some people don't really notice it's happening to them either.
Yeah. A lot of us are unaware. Yes.
Yeah. So, because people have come up to me and they say something to me, I'm like, oh, what? It all depends on the personality type, and but presence is important because it will make you more authentic as well. When because you're pulling from your inner self, like I said before, and people really get to know you that way.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned that energy is really important. Can you tell us a little bit more what type of energy you're talking about?
Yes. So I combine this idea of presence and energy, and it makes all the difference in how you feel about yourself, how you communicate, and how you're perceived by others. And the results you get, it's everything. Energy is everything, because communication is only 10% the words you say. Some people will say it's 7%, which is even less. I round it up to 10%. That's it. And it's 20% your tone of voice, and it's a whopping 70% your energy. And that encompasses your body language, your confidence, your passion, and your energy. And again, I like to give examples so that people really get what I'm talking about. So let's say you meet somebody and they look okay, they're dressed okay, they aren't saying anything too weird, but you just get this creepy feeling from them, or a feeling that you don't trust them.
Okay.
And you can't quite explain in words why that is, but you get that feeling you don't trust them. That's their energy that they are communicating to you. And sometimes we're not even aware of it, that that's exactly what's happening, but we're affected by it. And on the positive side, maybe you met your spouse this way, you meet somebody and they look okay and they're dressed okay and they don't say the perfect thing, but yet you're magnetically drawn into them. You want to be around them. You feel good around them and you want more of them. That's their energy. We call it chemistry. When your energy and their energy sync like that, that's chemistry. You can't always explain that in words, right?
No, you
But
can't.
Yeah.
I tried to explain that to my son, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's energy. It's not something we intellectualize about. It's this other part of communication that we all react to, but aren't always aware of how we're reacting, or even how people are reacting to our energy. So what I help people do is get out of their head, where, like I said, it's all the filters of everything that's ever happened to you. It's your past experiences. It's your to-do list. It's, your evaluation and your judgment about your environment and what's going on right now, and how you think people are perceiving you. That's through all these filters. And it's just so cluttered. It's filled with, and we're bombarded with information. It's filled with information. And so when you get out of this place and into, a lot of coaches will tell you, speak from the heart.
Right.
And yeah, that's a great thing to do. But I take that a step further. So you not only speak from your heart, but you speak from your heart and your gut.
That's when I talk about the inner self. It's you gain your inspiration, your intuition from your gut,
Yes.
and how you feel about something, because you may have planned something in one way, but maybe you have to take this in another way, another direction.
Yeah. And, a lot of us don't trust our intuition because we're taught to think with our mind. So we don't always trust it, but trusting it, and the more you're aware of it and the more you communicate with it and from it, the more you will trust it, and the more it's going to give you such great information. It has a consciousness of its own. And I call it your home space. So it's, gut doesn't sound so, it doesn't sound so sexy. So we call it home space.
It's your center.
Yeah. I mean, Dantian, there's so many names for this place. But, again, I try and make all my energy work really practical so everybody can relate, because I think everybody can get value from this. So I call it home space because a lot of people can relate to that. It's where you're really home. Mm-hmm. It's the essence of who you are. It's not your to-do list. It's not what you've accomplished, even all the good stuff. It's the essence of who you are. And when you speak from this place, you're more authentic. Mm-hmm. You're more joyful because it feels good. And people pay attention more. You're more magnetic. It's amazing the difference that it makes when you learn how to get in this place. And most of us resist it. Mm-hmm. It's not natural. It doesn't feel natural, even though it is natural. It's not what we've been taught to do. So we resist it. And sometimes there's a lot of memories in our body. And so for some people, it's challenging because we're a little afraid of what might come up for us if we get in this place. So I like to create really safe places for you to explore this place within yourself. And then when you speak from there, it's just magic and beautiful.
Yeah, I guess that's why people get into this little block of they don't really know what to say, and that because they're fearful of saying something. And I'm sure that's how you work with people. You kind of, ease them into, figuring out why they're being blocked at a certain time so they can be more comfortable and more at ease of what to say. For instance, a lot of people who hold on to their weight is because they have some trauma in their past. It becomes a blanket. So possibly something in your gut. Well, your gut will create nervousness because there is a brain-gut connection, okay? And it will also cloud your thinking. So, people probably are blocked and not even know the block is just a nervousness of what they really are having problems figuring out why they can't be authentic or be able to express emotions the way they need to, or being a better speaker. And I'm sure you've run into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. And also what I find, it is hard for a lot of people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so even though I have a psychology background, and when I work one-on-one with people, we get a little deeper dive into the psychology. Most of the time I work in groups because as a public speaker, it really helps to speak in front of a group. Plus the dynamic is super powerful and exciting. So when I work in the groups, the exercises I take people through, they don't have to even consciously know what they're letting go of, and they can still let go of it because of the magic of these experiential exercises I take people through. I help you unhook from self-doubt, unhook from negative beliefs in an energetic way so that you get this shift because if you use your mind, a lot of times our critical mind comes in and we rationalize or we negate what we really feel or those kinds of things.
We
Our
overthink
filters
it.
come in. Yeah. So I find that doing it indirectly makes a bigger transformation for people. So that's what I'm all about, is quickly helping people transform through these exercises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a difficult example? A client that was like really resistant, or not necessarily the word of resistant, but they just didn't know what to do. How's that? They had no direction.
Yeah. So let me make sure I understand your question. You're asking if I have clients that are resistant to letting go of things or resistant to speaking.
Resistant to letting go of things so they can be a better speaker, or be more comfortable. It's like they're holding on to something like a ballast on the balloon that they need to cut for that balloon to go up. So, but for some reason they're resisting a little bit. When with your client, with your clients, what was maybe the most difficult situation you ran into with somebody? How's that?
Yeah. Well, because I was a life coach, I still am a life coach, but I was doing a lot of therapy for people, and I've worked on really difficult issues like eating disorders and sexual abuse and some real heavy stuff.
Right.
And even before I was doing the speaker coaching and I was just doing the therapy for people, I still do these experiential exercises. And sometimes I would just make up an exercise. Right now, I use a lot from the Art of Presence training that I'm certified to teach. But I also make up exercises because I'm so intuitive. I get what people need. And yeah, people can be resistant. But when you bypass the critical mind, then it leaves space for the transformation to happen, for the resistance to go away. And sometimes people have to do the exercise more than once. So I'm not saying everybody immediately transforms, but most people very quickly do. Yeah. And it's amazing. And even this, what I'm talking about, getting in your body, I go into real depth in the exercise on giving you the experience of doing it. And then we do it, several times, more than once, so that you really get how to do it, because talking about it doesn't usually change anything.
Yeah. Is there any way that you can give us an example of that? Of like maybe the art of presence example?
Yeah. So, what I find, so I'll do a couple things. A real quick example of being in your head versus being in your body when you speak. So a lot of speakers will get out there and they'll talk really fast because they think you should talk really fast. And then, their mind's going a million miles a minute. And so they'll talk really fast and they'll kind of have a high voice, and their voice will be all up here. And you might get a little bit of a choked up feeling and a red chest and a red throat because all their energy is up here. That's what a lot of people, now I'm exaggerating just to show the point, but for a lot of people, that's where they're speaking from. It's too fast. They don't take pauses. They're not really opening space for a conversation and for their information to land. And then when I speak from this place of embodiment and from my heart and my home space, the essence of who I am, my voice gets lower and it also gets slower, and it also feels more authentic than this type of thing.
I know how that is. Sorry.
Yeah. And what's really great is, I was asking before we started today whether I could take a volunteer from the audience, because that's what I usually do, because this is the best way to show it. So I have someone do, let's say, a 1-minute pitch or marketing message, and then I take them into their body, and then they speak again, and the change is amazing. So if somebody wants to meet with me one-on-one, I'm real happy. I'd love to share this with you, because it's so quick and like 10 minutes, and the change is automatic and amazing. It's huge. Usually what happens is when you speak from this place, you speak with more emotional content. It's more about the other person instead of about, I do this and I am this and this is what I do. And it also tends to be slower and more connective language.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I know on these shows where you're time driven, things like that, you need to put information in a certain amount of time. So, but I get your point, and it's easier when you're on with a live audience to direct what you're talking about and answer everyone's questions and present yourself that way as well. I mean, this is a live show, but I don't really have, some people can call in if they want to, but I've never had that experience yet. And it is a new show for me. I mean, I just started in October. So
congratulations, though. You're doing awesome.
Great. Thank you. And I'm getting better all the time. But yeah, it's the timing thing with me that puts me, I got to throw that timing thing out. But I do have to pay attention to time too. So,
well, this is great, though. I mean, a lot of podcasts are 20 minutes long or 15 minutes long. So, yours is longer. So, I gave more examples, energy and presence. And we talked about anxiety, and we talked about collective anxiety and personal anxiety and how you react to it and getting out of your cluttered mind. We talked about a lot of things. So this is great that it's, I think it's a perfect length. Yeah, but I do like, the live audiences. I do master classes where I work with people live. And some of the things I do in there are the exercise where you get out of your head, because I think that's the first step to really changing your communication. And then I talk about speaker personality. And, what we briefly touched on was that people they want to be the expert, they want to be competent. And so they're not themselves. They come off as, just too serious, or they're, some people are too funny and they're never serious. So, how do you get that right personality for you? Not everyone's going to be super high energy. I tend to be high energy, but how can you be magnetic energy? Even if you're lower energy, to be magnetic where you draw people in. And so that it's a different quality of energy. It's not about high or low, but a different quality. And then the speaker personality, some people need to be more bossy. And bossy isn't a bad thing. Bossy is directive. You need to be, to direct people, because we need some direction. All of us do. And it's really helpful to have some direction. Whereas, there's so many coaches that are so heart-centered and so inspirational and so giving that they have a hard time being a little more directive and bossy. So sometimes I help people do that, or other people, need to be more funny, or they need to be more relaxed, or they need to be more enthusiastic. There's so many parts to personality that you're probably, with your friends, you have a lot more parts to your personality, but then you go to speak and you get, kind of a little nervous about being fully expressed. And when you're fully expressed, it is joyful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can get a little shut down, especially if something's happening beforehand. But it's important to remember that you're here on this show, and to be more comfortable and to just express things in different ways. And sometimes I come across funny. And sometimes, I'll just come out with something that people are like, whoa, listen to her. But I get it, because it's really that emotion piece, that energy and emotion that attracts people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people need to be more vulnerable. That's a big one. And that was one that I had to learn, to be more vulnerable. So I tell a little bit about my story, and in a longer speech, I tell more about my story. But I didn't used to tell any of my story, right? I used to just give information and talk at people, and that doesn't work. So I changed that a long time ago.
Well, that's good. But, we all grow. We can always find something. 10 years from now, you're going to find, oh, what I did 10 years ago, this is so much better. It's not going to take 10 years, but you get my point.
We're all in a process and a journey, and we're all getting better all the time and learning all the time. And to just roll with those punches too is really important, as opposed to, getting uptight about, oh my gosh, change is happening, or, oh, I don't know enough about this yet. To just, know that we're all just growing and learning.
Exactly. And that's why it's great to get a coach, whether it's for health related or for speaking,
Yes.
And it's interesting you have this art of presence training behind you, because I never heard of that before. But obviously you're getting people more comfortable with themselves, so they can present the material and connect better with others. So that's pretty much what that's all about. Am I right or am I wrong? I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, the Art of Presence is this huge program that there's 45 different experiential exercises within the program. And it used to be the Art of Feminine Presence, and now we include men. So now I just call it the Art of Presence. But it's psychology. It's about empowerment. It's a lot about quieting this critical mind. It's about relationship, communication. It's about, shifting your energy. We have, and I use a lot of this within my speaker training. In fact, this 6-month program I just created is 3/4 speaker training and 1/4 the Art of Presence, because it's personal growth and they're intertwined. You can't have, build your business without that personal growth happening too. But it's so many different aspects of personal growth, and that's why I love it. It's amazing work, but it's all these experiential exercises. Some of it you do by yourself, some of it you do in a dyad or a group. And, one of the things, I'll just bring up one more brief thing about it, because I know we're going to run out of time here real soon, but it's a way to receive, because so many of us are givers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're taught it's better to give than receive. And
Right.
we don't even know how to receive. But you have to not only receive opportunity, receive money, receive compliments, but you also have to receive your audience as a speaker, and not, again, be, trying to give to them or talk at them, but it's how do you receive them? Even if you can't see them, how do you receive? So we don't just talk about that. We do an exercise where you experience the difference between giving and receiving. It's amazing. I love this work.
Oh, that's wonderful. You have so many tools in your toolbox. So what kind of offer do you have for my audience who wants to get over that hump of public speaking?
Yes. So I do offer free master classes, but what I'm offering that I offer all the time is what I call a hot or not speaker assessment. And what that is you can bring any part of your message, your pitch, your story, anything that you have. And if you're just starting to think about becoming a speaker, great. We'll come up with ideas for you to create a message, and you will come away with having a message that sizzles and a 1-minute talk that you can use to draw people to you immediately.
That's wonderful, because there's so many people out there that are just beginning to speak, publicly, and that's a wonderful thing to do. And I'm sure you can help them the educational side of things too, where they have to do a presentation too. So,
Yes.
well, Marla, I want to thank you for being a guest on my show. And will you be a guest again in the
Oh
future?
my gosh, absolutely. I would love to. Love hanging out with you. And this has been great. There's so much more we could talk about too.
And perhaps we can get some people, calling in next time. But stick around, because I may have some time at the end. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap up the show now.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now is your time to better your health. And what I would like you to do is use my Beach Reveal retreat as a celebratory award that will spark your emotion and passion. Spark your emotion and passion that will drive you to achieve your transformation. Now, this whole program is comprehensive, so it includes my coaching services, as well as you writing your transformational story in a chapter of a book at that retreat center that you saw earlier. And the release journey starts at release journey starts on March 1st or April 4th, when all the seats are filled up. Then you will go to the retreat center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, which is November 6th through the 13th. Watch these episodes for more detailed information at https://bit.ly/beach with a capital B, reveal with a capital R, S is a capital show, and the number 2 all spelled out. And the original show is without the number 2. And you're welcome to ask me questions or via email, or an appointment was actually better in person at my link tree, which is https:// www.debi changes lives lives.com/linktree, all in lowercase, and I'll get back to you to answer your questions. At that same link tree, you can email me or set up an appointment to get more details about the YFAST intermittent program that actually will get your cells and body humming and boosts your metabolism. It is a unique program with high-dense nutrition, nutrients, and a whole bunch more information like exercise and recipes. And this is a natural part of all my coaching services. Plus, you can do it as a standalone program. So contact me with your questions at that link tree, either email or the appointment button. Then at that same link tree, you can set up a complimentary consultation where you get to know me, I get to know you, and I'll guide you to your optimal health. On that same button, you'll see services and programs. And the services I have are the ZytoScan services. There's a Cradle and there's a ZytoLink. I prefer the ZytoLink because I can actually do remote scanning throughout the world. And what it is a transdermal optical imaging device where I send you a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds, and it scans your body in the areas of energetic, functional, and emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. And it will generate a report with your biomarkers out of range and products and services to bring it back into range. It is quite an extensive report, and I will review it with you. And if you move forward on my services, I'll give you a little bit of discount. Normally, the scan costs $50. And you can get a package deal of 5 scans for the price of 4. And you save $50. Then on that same link tree, you can go to send me an email if you want to purchase my #1 Amazon bestseller book, Women Rising, which is a collection of several women's transformation stories, including my own. It's going to help somebody that's struggling. So get a copy for $20 or a signed copy for $25. And once I get your payment and your email, I'll send that book right out to you. Finally, sign up for my newsletter to get to know my upcoming promotions and events and shows. And you go to do that, you need to go to https://bit.ly radio TV show, all spelled out in lowercase. And as a gift, I give you a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can capture your gratitude, thoughts, feelings of the day and emotions, as well as the foods that you ate, the water you drank, the exercise you've done, and track your measurements. You want to review this on a weekly, monthly, or a basis, and you will see areas that you can celebrate your wins, and you'll see areas where there's some lack. And if you need some help to get over that bridge with that gap, contact me because I can coach you. This is a great health and wellness tool, making you more aware of what's going on with your body. I am sure that you found this show entertaining and eye-inspiring and enjoyed it. You can ask me questions as well as reach out to Marla for more information. And we have just a few minutes if you want to bring Marla back. Marla, do you have anything else to say before I have to close out completely?
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone watching out there that you matter. And speaking up matters. And it's going to change all the relationships in your life, your partner and a potential client, your work relationships. It'll change everything and it'll feel really good. And if you want to do the Hot or Not Speaker eval and you don't want to talk about your message, you want to just experience that exercise I was talking about, I'm happy to do that with you too. It'll change your life.
Yes. Yeah, speaking does matter because you need to share your knowledge. If you don't, it goes away with you when you pass. So give back to society, right? So, well, it looks like we have some more time.
Giving to society, especially if you're driven and you have a message that you know is going to help other people. So that's one aspect of speaking out. But the other aspect is for you. For you to feel like you've expressed yourself, because all of us hold stuff back, especially from our partners, right? We hold stuff back. We don't say what we really think or we really feel sometimes because we're afraid of the consequence. But if you speak in such an authentic way, you're going to feel better. It's going to be so much more joyful. And then your clients are going to notice it too, if you're in a place where you get clients. So it's so helpful in so many parts of your life.
Yeah. Clear communication is ideal in all aspects of life. And if you can help people communicate better, that is fantastic, which I know you can.
And I love what you do, Debbie, too, because, to be a holistic health coach is so important. We're all connected. It's, you can't just look at the physicality. You have to create, the big picture with, what's going on in your mind and your mindset, what's going on in your body and your nutrition and all of these things, your hormones, all of these things play a role. So I love what you do also, Debbie, and so grateful to be with you.
Well, thank you. Well, I do have to close out the show now. So stick around. I'll talk to you later. But anyways, I'm sure you enjoyed my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. That is on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.